This video is still in our arithmetic review, and it is on integers, which are positive and negative numbers including 0. So let's look at example 1. I want to show you exactly what adding integers means on a number line, and then we're going to go into some general rules for how to add and subtract integers. So it says add using a number line 5 plus negative 2. So when you have it presented this way, we consider 5 as our start number, and what you are putting with it is how much you are changing by, and then what you get will be the result. So we start at 5 right here, and it says change by negative 2, which means the negative direction is left, the positive direction is right. So we are changing by 2 in the negative direction, 1, 2, and we end up at positive 3. All right, let's look at the second one, again using a number line. So here it is telling us to start at negative 1, and we want to change by negative 4. So we start at negative 1 and we change in the negative direction 1, 2, 3, 4, and we land at negative 5. Now we'll generalize these rules shortly, but I just want you to see it on a number line first. In example 3, we start at negative 7, that's our start number. Our change number is a positive 3. Notice that we don't put plus positive, we don't put double positives there, but we know that if the 3 doesn't have a negative in front of it, it's implied in the positive direction. So we're going to start here and go 1, 2, 3, and look at where we landed. We landed at negative 4. Now going back and looking at these 3, you will notice that on 5 plus negative 2, the way we got to a 3 was to say 5 take away 2. Here, negative 1 and negative 4 is negative 5. We added a negative 1 and a negative 4. Here we did negative 7 plus 3. 7 take away 3 is 4, but we kept a negative sign. So it becomes confusing as to how do you know when your answer is positive or negative, because you don't have time to always draw out a number line. So let's look at sort of some general rules down here. It says if you are adding two numbers with the same sign, meaning positive, positive, or negative, negative, you just add up the digits and keep their sign. That is like example 2. We added a negative 1 and a negative 4. Those signs are alike, so we added them up to get a 5, and we kept the negative sign. If you are adding two numbers with different signs, what you do is you subtract the digits and you keep the sign of what we call the dominant number, the one with the largest absolute value. So for example, on 5 and 2, my 5 was positive, my 2 is negative, so I subtracted 5 take away 2 and got 3. But the dominant number is 5 and it's positive, so my answer was positive. There's more positiveness than negativeness. Contrast that with this one, it's negative 7 and positive 3. What I do is subtract the digits to get 4, 7 take away 3, but the dominant number is 7 and it's negative, therefore my 4 is negative. There's more negativeness than positiveness is another way to think about it. This is a very important statement right here. In general, you need to keep in mind that for any operation, add, subtract, multiply, or divide, when two signs are next to each other, like, let me scoot this back down, at the top when we had plus, minus, and here we have plus, minus. If two signs are next to each other, two like signs become a positive, so plus, plus, or minus, minus, and two unlike signs become a negative. And that's going to help you, I think, more than these two rules. These two rules can be hard to keep track of. So let's see if we can do these by eliminating the double signs and using single signs. So here I have a -2 and a -21. So I have a plus minus. So we know that makes a minus. So it's -2 minus 21. I've got now like signs. Just add them up and keep the sign. So as I start at -2, I go down 21. Here I don't have like a double signs. I just have a single sign. So I start at -2 and I go to the right 25. I'm going to be at positive 23. So it was 25 take away 2. Here I have again double signs, but they're unlike, so that's really 3 take away 17. Well, I have much more negativeness than positiveness, right? So I start at 3, go down 17. That's going to take me to -14. Again, we have double signs, plus minus. It's the same as 12 minus. A plus minus makes a minus, which is just 4. Here I have double signs, so it's just 0 minus 5, which is just -5. I start at 0, go down 5, and I end up at -5. Here I do not have negative signs, or double signs I mean. I have -18, positive 10. Well, don't you have more negativeness? So you subtract the digits, the signs are unlike. 18 take away 10 is 8. Keep the sign of the dominant number. So that little shortcut works quite well with double signs, because it's the double signs that confuse people. Let's look at the next page, and we're going to continue. Here I have a -21 and a positive 21. So think about starting at 0 and going down 21 and then coming back up 21. You're going to be at 0. They are opposites of each other. They make a 0. 36 plus minus is really 36 minus 36. This one also makes a 0. Here, there's a lot of ways to approach this. You can do it with single signs, or you can do it in order, left to right. I like to put my positives together and then my negatives together, but I am going to get rid of the double sign. So it's -3 plus 4 plus minus makes -11. Now I'm going to put my negatives together. A -3 and a -11 is a -14, and a positive 4 is a -10. Down 14, back to the right 4. Here I have several, and I'm going to replace my double signs with single. Plus minus makes minus. Plus minus makes minus. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do this. I'm going to put my positives together. 1 plus a 9. Remember, the sign goes with the digit that comes after it. That makes a 10, and 10 take away 10 is 0. So I'm really only left with -8. That's the easiest way to do that one. Let's do the subtraction. Again, remembering we're just going to replace double signs and then add. So 8 minus 5, straight old 8 minus 5 is 3. -4, -10, -14. Think about going down 4, down 10 more. Here I've got double signs, so we're going to replace negative makes positive, and I end up with positive 11. 6 take away a -5. Double signs again, so -11, negative makes positive. You've got more negativeness. How much more? 4. So I subtracted the digits, kept the sign of the larger. Double signs, negative makes positive. Here I have more positiveness. How much more? 11 more. Here I start at 8, I go to the left 15, I'm going to be at -7. So 8 take away 15. You can think of that as a positive 8 and a -15. There's more negativeness, so your answer has to be negative. You want to get used to thinking of it that way. Now, the same thing goes with multiplication. Plus, plus, minus, minus, both make a positive because they're the same. Plus, minus, or minus, plus make a negative. So here I have a negative times a positive is a negative. A negative times a negative is a positive. 0 times anything is just 0. Positive times negative is a negative. Here I have three things. I'm going to multiply these two negatives together first. Negative times negative is a positive. 7 times 12 is 84. Now you could have done them in order and you'll end up with the same thing, or at least you should. Let's do these in order. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6 times negative 4. Notice, it's not this. That means subtract. These parentheses indicate multiplication. So that is a negative 24. Here I've got negative 1 times negative 2, positive 2. Negative 3 times negative 4, positive 12. And now I'm going to multiply those two. 2 times 12 is 24. So I can group them in ways that make my work easier. Negative 5 squared. These two are very important, and we're going to return to these in another section. But here you need to understand that what is being squared is negative 5. So it's negative 5 times negative 5. The exponent means use it twice. Negative times negative is a positive 25. This one does not mean that. This one means minus 7 squared. So minus 7 times 7, which is negative 49. Here the exponent belongs to all of it because it's in parentheses. Here the exponent only belongs to the 7. Again, if that's confusing, we will be returning to that. Same thing with division. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. Negative divided by negative is a positive. Positive divided by negative is a negative. 0 divided by a number is 0, but a number divided by 0 is undefined. Don't say that it's 0. Remember, 0 over a number is on. You're on for the answer. But in a number over 0 spells no. That is undefined.